Oil prices hitting a record high of $147 a barrel in early trading before pulling back to close the bargain price of just over $145 a barrel, sparking the run-up, mounting tension between Iran and Israel over Iran's nuclear program. So what would happen if the threats and all the talk and all the arms and all the saber rattling actually crossed the line into conflict? Joining us now, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Maginnis, a senior strategist with the U.S. Army. Colonel Maginnis, Brian Sullivan, thanks for joining us. This is not the first time we've seen, some war games and some hot rhetoric, but is this a little more severe than when we've seen it in the past?
Well, it is, Brian. Early June, of course, there were 100 aircraft that were in the eastern Mediterranean, stretching the Israeli Air Force in its capability, trying to see how long of legs those F-16Is have. They appear to have up to maybe 1,300 miles, which would allow them to take a low path across Saudi Arabia to Iraq into the three critical sites inside Iran. So I do believe that this is very serious. And in fact, if you look at history, you go back to October of '80 when Menachem Begin was told by Mossad that it was June of '81 when Iraq's nuclear reactor would be online. And it wasn't a surprise when that red line came up that they launched 25 aircraft and they destroyed that particular reactor. I think we're at the precipice now, and that very well may happen as soon as this U.S. election is over.
Help us understand why now, okay? Because Iran has been spewing its anti-Israel garbage for decades. And we haven't seen a lot of new headlines crossing about nuclear development necessarily in Iran, at least not imminently. So what is going on? Do you think that Israel has intelligence that we don't have, or at least the U.S. government is not sharing with the American people?
Yes. I can categorically say that's true. I will tell you, I was speaking to some senior people in our intelligence community last fall about the September attack on the Syrian nuclear reactor. I guessed exactly what had happened. They weren't very forthcoming. I believe that Mossad, the Israeli intelligence, knows some red lines that are being approached right now in maybe the plutonium reactor that the Iranians have, but more than likely, they already have enough plutonium to make a number of weapons, and perhaps the Israelis understand that and are prepared perhaps to launch that attack. Now, once again, I don't think the attack will take place until the U.S. election, but if it were an Obama-favored election, that will probably open the window the day after that election all the way till the time that Bush leaves, because they see that Bush is favorable to supporting Israel, and therefore the collateral damage politically will be in Israel's favor, perhaps.
Okay, you referenced that 1981 attack on Iraq's nuclear reactor by Israel. Do you think that what we could see, if there actually is conflict, if we actually launch missiles or fighter jets, or Israel does, that it's going to be a targeted, coordinated attack on a certain number of sites and then a pullout, or will it escalate into something greater?
Well, first of all, they'll use probably 50 aircraft. They'll take on three particular targets. They'll use about 100 GPS-guided laser weapons that will penetrate and destroy those three targets. So I don't have any question they'll be militarily successful. The question is what will happen after Iran has received this attack. In all probability, they will launch a phalanx of Shabab 3s. They'll unleash Hezbollah in southern Lebanon against Israel. They already have maybe thousands of missiles, some of which are capable of reaching Tel Aviv. And then, interestingly, they have Hezbollah, even in our hemisphere. Chavez has given aid and comfort to some of Hezbollah down in Venezuela, and we've arrested some in this country. So I think terrorism will go up against us. Certainly our bases in Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and a few other places in that region. After that, it's not clear. Maybe the Straits of Hormuz will be threatened, as we've seen recently. It could really be a flame-up in the Mideast.
Well, we talked about the Straits of Hormuz. A lot of people say, where in the world is that? Guess what? About 40% of the world's oil goes through them. U.S. Navy cannot allow the Strait of Hormuz, right, to be shut down at any cost. We'll have $10 a gallon gasoline.
Yeah, the Fifth Fleet, of course, that's their primary mission in the Persian Gulf. They operate all the time in there. We have a carrier right now, and probably will ramp up depending upon what happens in the next couple of weeks, maybe 2 and even 3 carriers in the region. That would give us a great deal of capability. I don't see the U.S. doing this, Brian. I do believe the Israelis see this as something that they have to do.
Should we tell Israel to pull back and knock it off?
Well, we could tell them that at the same time. I don't think they're going to listen to us. They didn't listen to us in 80 and 81. I don't think they're going to listen to us this time if indeed they believe that a red line has been crossed and their survival, which, if you understand the theology of that, some of those kooks over in Iran are thinking, then you would understand that the Israelis are serious about this.
That's right. And when you listen to these folks, and you know what the sad part is, that, you know, most Iranians in Iran don't feel that way and don't like Ahmadinejad.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, we got to deal with this stuff. All right. Thank you very much, Lieutenant Colonel. We appreciate it, I think. Could be an interesting weekend. Take care.